Are you an emerging business leader? How would you like a full-ride MBA scholarship? It's possible. The Ivy College of Business is offering a full scholarship for one standout student in the online MBA. This first Emerging Leader MBA Scholarship will be awarded to one qualified candidate who is ready to start classes in the fall of 2026. Apply by May 15th. The link is copied below. Reach your full potential with the Iowa State MBA.
The Business Record News Headlines is brought to you by the Ivy College of Business at Iowa State University, where world-class faculty, staff, programs, and facilities come together to deliver business education for a rapidly changing world. At Ivy, students gain more than a degree, they gain real-world experience and the confidence to lead in any industry.
Welcome to the Business Record Iowa News Headlines podcast presented by Ivy College of Business at Iowa State University. This is your essential weekly briefing on local business news from across the state. I'm Stacey Thompson, Business Record Director of Events, here with co-host Business Record Editor Sarah Diehn. We're starting off with our Business Record Roundup, reviewing the top 3 stories reported by the Business Record newsroom that you may have missed over the last week.
The Iowa Business Council released its annual dashboard last week, measuring Iowa's national economic competitiveness. Indicators measured in the report include economic growth, education and workforce, and health and wellness. According to the new report, Iowa saw improvements in its income tax competitiveness ranking, moving up to 11th nationally from 18th, following the tax reforms that were enacted in 2022. Workforce and population constraints remain a top focus for the council as it eyes potential long-term economic impacts. Iowa's labor force participation improved but was shy of the benchmark for sustaining economic growth. Iowa also ranks 47th nationally in outmigration of 25 to 29-year-olds with bachelor's degrees or higher, and it continues to rank lower in primary care and mental health providers, though the state ranks in the top 3rd nationally for overall health outcomes. The dashboard has been produced annually since 2011.
DART CEO Amanda Wonke is leaving the organization for a leadership position with Metro Transit in the Twin Cities. Her last day with DART will be May 9th. Since she returned to DART as CEO in 2023, Wonke has led several initiatives to strengthen and modernize public transit in the Des Moines Metro, including the reimagined DART network redesign and the construction of a new operations and maintenance facility. Wonke, a Minnesota native, said accepting the new position allows her to be closer to family and continue to grow as a transit leader.
New data from the Des Moines Area Association of Realtors shows homes sold in the Des Moines area in February were on the market an average of 75 days, the longest period of time since 2019. However, the number of homes sold in February were up over 10% from January and nearly 6% from a year ago. The median sales price of homes sold in February was $292,000, down slightly from January. The association said it expects sales to pick up this month as the market moves into spring. You can read all these stories in full and more news at businessrecord.com. Next up, we have our statewide headlines with the news you need to know from across Iowa.
The Iowa Capital Dispatch reports the Iowa Revenue Estimating Conference projects state revenues will drop more than previously expected due to changes in federal tax laws. In December, the conference projected net revenues to decline by 8.8% between fiscal years 2025 and 2026. Last week, the figure was updated to 9.3%, a loss of an additional $46 million. Conference Chair Craig Paulson said the decreased projected revenues compared to December were dollars that are going back into the private sector through tax provisions enacted in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
The Des Moines Register reports the state is putting in place new requirements for the IEDA Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program, which supports affordable housing projects across the state. The IEDA will now require developers applying for tax credits to have 60% of funding for the projects secured. Des Moines city officials told city council members the city will only be able to support the applications of 4 projects across the state each year under the new requirements. Over the past 5 years, the city had issued letters of support for 45 projects.
The Cedar Rapids Gazette reports the 2026 Cancer in Iowa report has been released by the Iowa Cancer Registry, showing cancer rates continue to climb in the state. It is expected that nearly 22,000 new invasive cancers will be diagnosed this year, up from 31% a decade ago. This year's report also includes findings from a decades-long study of cancer rates in Iowa and North Carolina farmers and their spouses. The study found Iowa farmers had 13% fewer cancers than the general Iowa population between 1994 and 2015, and their spouses had 10% fewer cancers.
The Des Moines Register reports a new survey from the Iowa chapter of Realtors shows Iowa farmland values rose by 1.3% over the last 6 months, despite the ongoing downturn in agriculture. The statewide average value fell to 1.2% between March and September last year before rising again, which means that for the year, the state's farmland values stayed mostly flat. But the results are in line with other reports from Iowa State University and the Federal Reserve showing gains in value.
The Iowa Capitol Dispatch reports a new analysis finds state Medicaid budgets will be reduced by a total of $665 billion over the next decade after federal cuts to the health insurance program, which is funded jointly by state and federal money. The report from the research nonprofit Rand Health found that effects on states will vary depending on the amount of money states will have to take from their general funds to cover Medicaid losses. Iowa is among the states that will see their Medicaid budgets reduced by more than 15%.
The Ivy College of Business at Iowa State University is proud to introduce the Emerging Leader MBA Scholarship, a full ride opportunity designed to develop Iowa's next generation of business leaders. Full ride, full potential. Learn more and apply online at the link in the show description.
That's our show for today, but before we go, we have a few things for you to take with you through the rest of your week. One thing coming up this Friday, read the profiles of our 2026 40 Under 40 class. We hope that you can join us on April 2nd to honor these leaders. For more information, you can go to businessrecord40.com. Lastly, one fun thing to know, over in Eastern Iowa, the Homestead Vintage and Makers Market will be at the Waterloo Convention Center on Friday and Saturday, featuring select vintage dealers and artisans from across the state. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our sponsor, Ivy College of Business at Iowa State University. Each week, you can count on us for a dose of balanced news with the context you need. If you enjoyed today's show, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday.